People always ask me what I want in a man, like it's some complicated mystery. Look, I'm 29 years old. I know exactly what I bring to the table, and I know what I deserve in return. Standards aren't a dirty word. They're called having self-respect. I've been with Hayden for 5 years now, engaged for 2, and while I love him to pieces, I'm getting tired of playing house when we could be building an actual life together. He's 31, works in tech doing something with computer systems, makes around $65K, which is fine. We're comfortable, I guess. We've got our little apartment. We can afford weekend trips to the lake and bills get paid on time. But comfortable isn't the same as secure. And it sure isn't the same as thriving. My friends are living completely different lives than me. Ashton's husband bought her a Mercedes last year, a freaking Mercedes, because he cleared 6 figures and wanted to celebrate. Brianna just got back from 2 weeks in Italy because her man decided they needed a spontaneous adventure. Meanwhile, I'm over here calculating whether we can afford to upgrade from generic cereal to name brand. It's embarrassing. So when my parents invited us over for Sunday dinner last month, I saw it as the perfect opportunity to address the elephant in the room. Mom always asks about wedding plans, and I'm tired of making excuses about why we're still figuring things out after 2 years of being engaged. The conversation started innocent enough. Dad was carving the roast, asking Hayden about work, the usual small talk. Then Mom brought up the wedding, like she always does, and I couldn't keep pretending everything was fine. We're waiting until Hayden gets his finances in order, I said, cutting into my potatoes. Simple, direct, true. Hayden nearly choked on his wine. My finances are fine. Harper, I patted his hand. You know, supportive girlfriend style. Babe, you make 60-something thousand. That's not exactly marriage material money. I need security. Mom nodded like she understood completely. Harper's right. Sweetheart, a man should be able to provide properly. I'm not marrying someone making under 6 figures. I announced, I have standards. All my friends' husbands make at least that much. Sienna, my younger sister, shifted uncomfortably in her chair. She's 26, still in grad school getting her MBA, acts like she's so above all this relationship stuff. That's kind of harsh. Harper, it's realistic. I snapped back. Hayden, you understand, right? I deserve a certain lifestyle. I watched him sit there, processing what I was saying. He looked stunned, which honestly surprised me. Did he really think we were going to live in that cramped apartment forever? Did he think I was going to be satisfied with discount vacations and used cars for the rest of my life? So what? The engagement is conditional, he asked. Don't be dramatic. Just motivate yourself. Get a better position or something. Dad jumped in. Thank goodness. Son, she's got a point. Step up, earn more. Only Sienna seemed to have an issue with the conversation. But that's typical. She's always been jealous of my relationship with Hayden, probably because she can't keep a man interested long enough to have these kinds of discussions. Give me a year, Hayden said finally. I beamed. Finally. Some ambition. See, that's the spirit. 1 year to hit 6 figures, then we plan the wedding. That night, I showed him the spreadsheet I'd been working on. Research. Really. Dave makes $130K and bought Ashley that Mercedes. Brian pulls in $200K, and they have the vacation home in the mountains. These are the benchmarks, the standards other women are setting. This is what I need, I explained. Minimum. What do you bring financially? He asked. I make about $30K working part-time at this boutique downtown. But that's beside the point. I bring myself. I said, that should be enough. And it should be. I'm not asking for anything unreasonable here. I'm asking for security, for the ability to build a real life together. 6 figures isn't some impossible dream. It's basic adult responsibility in today's economy. Over the next few months, I threw myself into what I started calling Operation Level Up. Hayden needed support, motivation, someone to help him see his potential. I created detailed comparison charts showing what other couples our age were achieving. I started a TikTok series called Dating Down, Waiting Up, where I gave advice to women in similar situations. How to motivate your man to reach his potential without being pushy about it. The response was incredible. Women were messaging me constantly, thanking me for giving them permission to have standards. Comments like, yes, queen, know your worth. And mine only makes $80K. Definitely trying your strategies. I was inspiring people, helping them demand better for themselves. I'd show Hayden the videos proudly. Look, I'm helping women everywhere. You're humiliating me publicly. He'd say, it's motivation. You should thank me. The entitlement was getting frustrating, though I'd send him job listings for senior positions. Tell him to apply anyway, even if he didn't meet every requirement. Fake it till you make it. Right. I presented him with a success timeline, a literal chart showing when he should hit certain salary milestones, when we'd get married, buy a house, have kids, all based on reasonable expectations for his career growth. What about your career goals? He asked one day. My goal is to marry well. That is my career. Sienna overheard that conversation. Thin walls in my parents' house. Later, she texted me some passive-aggressive nonsense about not believing we were related. She's always been jealous that I landed a guy with actual potential while she's still playing the independent career woman game. Month 5. Everything changed. Hayden got an interview at some major tech company. Senior position. Starting salary $105K plus bonuses. I screamed when he told me. Actually screamed. Posted about it immediately. My man did it. 6 figures. Started planning the wedding that same night. I showed him my wedding budget spreadsheet. $75K minimum. We can't look cheap. We can't afford that. He said, you make 6 figures now. That's not how math works. Harper, this is exactly why I pushed you. For us, for our future. But here's where things got weird. During those months of me supporting his career growth, Sienna had been inserting herself into our business, bringing him coffee when he worked late, studying with him at the library, celebrating his small wins like they were her victories too. I wasn't worried initially. Sienna's never been able to keep a man's attention for long. But I started noticing the way she looked at him, the way she'd text him directly, instead of going through me. The night he got the job offer, she hugged him. A long hug, longer than appropriate for a sister-in-law. I'm proud of you, she said. Not because of the money, because you didn't let her break him. I pushed him to be better than he ever thought possible. But Sienna has always been manipulative like that, making herself look like the supportive one while undermining what I was trying to build. Month 9 rolled around, and I was in full wedding planning mode. I quit my boutique job, someone needed to focus on the details, and Hayden was making enough now to support us both. I needed to look like a 6-figure fiancé, so I upgraded my wardrobe, bought some investment jewelry, started taking us to nicer restaurants where I could show off our new lifestyle. When the credit card bills came in, and Hayden refused to pay them off, I was shocked. This is financial abuse, I told him. Using my raise as your personal shopping fund is the abuse? Harper. He started getting support from my family, which was infuriating. I'd cry to my parents about his stinginess, and Dad would call him with lectures about happy wife, happy life. Mom would guilt trip him about how they'd raised me to have standards. Only Sienna defended him, which caused massive drama but also confirmed what I suspected. She was playing both sides, acting like the reasonable sister while poisoning him against me. The breaking point came at another family dinner. I'd put deposits down on 3 venues, $5K each. Non-refundable, so Hayden could choose his favorite. With what money? He asked. Our savings. You mean my savings? Sienna couldn't keep her mouth shut. Harper, you can't just spend his money without asking. Stay out of this. You're just jealous because you're single and bitter. I'm single by choice. At least I'm not a gold digger. I threw my wine at her. She ducked, and it hit the wall behind her chair, leaving this dramatic red stain that's probably still there. You've always been jealous of me. I screamed. The prettier sister, the one who gets the attention. I have a master's degree and own my own condo, she said, all calm and superior. You live with your boyfriend, and your only life goal is marrying rich. Who's really winning here? I stormed out because I couldn't handle the disrespect, but my parents took her side. Of course they did. Sienna's always been the golden child, the one who can do no wrong. Later, Hayden and I sat in his car outside my parents' house for over an hour. He looked defeated, exhausted. I can't marry you, he said. I know, Sienna had said earlier. I'm sorry it took you this long to see it. That's when she dropped the bomb that changed everything. You know, I've had feelings for you since you helped me move 2 years ago. Right? 2 years ago. While he was engaged to me, while I was supporting his career, pushing him to be better, investing in our future together. This is complicated. He'd said, it doesn't have to be, end things with Harper, take some time. Then see what happens. Your family would implode. They already treat me like the black sheep for having ambition. What's one more disappointment? I found all this out later, obviously, but in the moment, sitting in that car, I knew something had shifted. Hayden wasn't the same man I'd been molding, training, improving. Someone had gotten to him, convinced him that what we had wasn't worth fighting for. Month 10, he ended it. Came home to find me hosting a wedding planning party with Ashton, Brianna, and Chloe. We had venue brochures spread across the coffee table, champagne flowing, my $3,000 dress hanging in the bedroom like a promise. Pack your things, he said. We're done. The room went silent. My friends stopped mid-conversation. Champagne glasses frozen halfway to their lips. Is this a joke? I laughed nervously. No joke. You wanted 6 figures. I got them. But I realized something. I don't want someone who sees me as a paycheck. Ashton started recording on her phone. Of course she did. This was prime content. You can't leave me. I made you, I said. You were nothing before me. I was somebody who loved you. That should have been enough. I have wedding deposits down. Get refunds? I started throwing things. Not at him. Just throwing things. The brochures, the champagne flutes. Anything within reach. My friends scattered like roaches when the lights come on. You'll regret this, I screamed. No one else will push you to be better. Someone already does, without making me feel worthless first. My parents rushed over when I called them. Hysterical. Dad threatened to have words with Hayden until Hayden reminded him about the security cameras in our apartment. Mom wailed about the embarrassment. The deposits. The dress I'd already bought. Your daughter valued money over love. Hayden said, this is the result. I tried everything. Tears. Threats. Even putting on that lingerie set I'd been saving for the honeymoon. Nothing worked. He'd already moved his important stuff to a storage unit. He'd been planning this betrayal for weeks. The next day, I had to move back in with my parents. Hayden let me take some things that weren't technically mine. But I deserved them, after everything I'd invested in that relationship. The harassment started immediately. But it wasn't harassment, it was me trying to save what we'd built together. I posted about narcissistic exes and financial manipulation because that's what had happened to me. I'd built Hayden up, invested in his success, only for him to abandon me the second he achieved what I'd pushed him toward. When my friends attacked him online, I didn't stop them. When random women messaged him calling him trash based on my posts, I felt vindicated. When I showed up at his office crying, telling security we'd had a fight and I was worried about him. I was being a concerned ex-fiancé. HR got involved when I called his work claiming he'd been suicidal and needed a wellness check. But I was genuinely worried. Breakups can make people do crazy things, and I knew how much he'd depended on me for emotional support. Then I found out about him and Sienna. 2 months after our breakup, they were officially dating, coffee dates, dinners, actual couple stuff. She was everything I'd tried to teach her to be, supportive of his career, celebrating his achievements, cooking for him like some 1950s housewife fantasy. I saw them at Romano's downtown, this Italian place we used to go to for special occasions. The confrontation was intense. My sister, I said, approaching their table. You're with my sister. The entire restaurant turned to stare. Sienna stood up, trying to manage the situation. Harper, calm down. You steal my man after I did all the work building him up. Your man. You threw him away the second he didn't meet your spreadsheet requirements. I made him. He was nothing before me. He was always something. She said, all calm and superior. You were just too shallow to see it. I lunged. Actually physically lunged across that table because someone needed to wipe that smug look off her face. Security intervened. Police were called. I was escorted out while screaming about betrayal and family loyalty. The family explosion was nuclear. Dad called me every name he could think of. Mom disowned Sienna on the spot, which was something at least extended family took sides. Social media became a war zone. But Sienna didn't care. They've enabled Harper's entitlement her whole life. She posted on Facebook, I'm done being the reasonable one who keeps quiet. They moved in together month 10. Small apartment, both names on the lease. Splitting everything 50-50 like they're such equals. Month 11, he proposed to her. Not with some huge ring or elaborate production. Just them on their balcony with takeout and a ring she'd apparently pointed out months earlier as someday perfect. She said yes immediately. Obviously. You sure about the family drama? He asked in the video she posted. I'm sure about you. That's all that matters. They planned a small wedding, courthouse ceremony, dinner with friends, road trip honeymoon. Practical, boring, everything I would never have settled for. Then Sienna had this brilliant idea to invite the whole family, including me. The invitation arrived with a handwritten note that I still have, because the audacity was breathtaking. Thank you for showing me what I don't want in a partner. Your push for success led me to find real love with someone who loved me at 65K and celebrates with me at 115K. Sometimes the best motivation comes from the worst examples. Wishing you all the best in finding someone who meets your spreadsheet requirements. The invitation caused absolute chaos in our family. I called Sienna immediately, had it on speaker so my parents could hear. You included a thank you note for motivation. Hayden wanted you to know your impact on his life, she said. Sweet as poison. This is harassment. I could sue you for this. Good luck with that. I tried everything to stop that wedding. Threatened to show up and object during the ceremony. Posted on social media about how Sienna had been grooming Hayden while we were together. How she was a husband-stealing snake who destroyed our family. I even announced that I was pregnant with Hayden's child from our last night together, which never happened. But desperate times call for desperate measures. The post went viral in our social circle. Praying for my baby, who will grow up watching Daddy marry my sister. When Hayden publicly commented happy to take a paternity test immediately, I had to delete the post and claim I'd lost the baby due to stress. He was such a bastard for questioning a grieving woman. But that's the kind of man he really was underneath all my improvements. The wedding day came anyway. Small courthouse ceremony. Maybe 20 people who actually mattered to them. I sat at the bar in their reception restaurant, watching the whole pathetic display. Sienna looked decent in some simple dress she probably bought off the rack. Nothing compared to the designer gown I'd selected. But she's never had my sense of style. Their speeches were nauseating. Friends talking about real love and partnership and growth. Hayden's best man went on and on about how Sienna made him better without making him feel less than. Sienna's maid of honor talked about how she'd never seen her so happy. I watched it all from that bar, nursing my wine, seeing how wrong they all were. They saw what they wanted to see, some fairy tale love story. They didn't see the months I'd spent pushing Hayden to achieve his potential. The spreadsheets I'd created, the research I'd done to help him understand what was possible. When my parents walked in, saw me drunk at the bar, saw the happy couple at their head table. They turned around and walked right back out. That hurt more than anything else that day. I left before they cut the cake, but not before approaching their table one last time. You were right. I told Hayden, you were somebody at 65K. I was just too focused on helping you see what you could become. No, he said, you saw it. You just decided it wasn't enough. I looked at Sienna, sitting there in her bargain dress, acting like she'd won some prize. Take care of him. We take care of each other. That's the difference. I posted one final thing that night. Congratulations to my sister. She won. Sienna commented immediately. It was never a competition. You were playing alone. That was 18 months ago. Sienna's still playing house with my leftovers, living in their starter home with 2 dogs, splitting everything down the middle like roommates instead of a married couple. I hear through mutual friends that she got some director position at her company, that they're expecting their first child now. Hayden's making $125K as a team lead, benefiting from all the motivation and career coaching I provided. Of course, they sent me a thank you card on their first anniversary, with some petty message about setting the bar low. I blocked them both after that. Look, I'm not bitter about how things turned out. I simply had standards and refused to settle for mediocrity. The dating pool of 6-figure men is smaller than I expected. And a lot of them want women who are more flexible about lifestyle expectations. But I'd rather be single than compromise on what I deserve. People love their fairy tale version where the gold digger gets her comeuppance and true love prevails. They don't want to hear that I spent 5 years investing in Hayden's potential, that I pushed him to achieve success he never would have reached without my motivation. They prefer the story where Sienna saved him from my terrible influence. Fine, let them have their version. I know what really happened, and I know what I brought to that relationship. Standards aren't a dirty word, and I'm not going to apologize for knowing my worth. The world doesn't appreciate women who demand what they deserve, but that's their loss, not mine.